Stop what you're doing. I don't say this lightly and I don't say it every month, but the August Visa Bulletin just dropped. And for family-based applicant, this is the single most significant bulletin of the entire fiscal year, possibly one of the most significant in recent memory. Here's the number that stopped me cold. When I opened this bulletin, the F2A category, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents, just advanced its final action date by 18 and a half months in 1 month. The F2A category, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents, just advanced its final action date by 18 and a half months in 1 month. From January 1st, 2025 to July 22nd, 2026. In one bulletin. That is not a normal move. That is not a small forward tick. That is the government essentially saying, if you are the spouse or child of a green card holder, the finish line just moved to your doorstep. And F2A isn't the only one that moved. F1 jumped nearly 11 months. F4 jumped 8 months. F2B's date for filing jumped almost 7 months. So today's video has one job. Tell you exactly who can act right now, what they need to do, and why waiting even 30 days could cost you this window. Because here's the thing. This bulletin is the most generous one of the fiscal year. And the fiscal year ends in 2 months. Let's get into it. Quick refresher if you are new here. Every month, the State Department issues a Visa Bulletin. This is basically like a scorecard that tells you whether you can move forward in your green card journey or if you still have to wait. And this is all based on your priority date. For family-based applicants, whether you are filing in the US or outside of the US, there's 2 charts that you need to pay attention to. The date for filing chart and the final action date chart. The date for filing chart is the earlier, more favorable chart that tells you when you can actually submit your application. If you are in the US, you would submit your application for adjustment of status. If you are outside of the US, that's when you can expect the National Visa Center to reach out to you to start your visa application process. The final action date chart is telling you, based on your priority date, when USCIS, when the embassy can actually approve your visa or your green card. This is a stricter one, and it's the one that moves the slowest. Every month, also, along with the Visa Bulletin, USCIS tells us which chart they're going to use to determine whether someone that's physically in the US applying for adjustment of status, when they can actually put in that application. And for August 2026, USCIS is using the date for filing chart. Again, that is the more favorable and typically the more faster chart. Now let's jump into the actual numbers. We are going to start with the date for filing chart because, again, that is what USCIS is going to be using to determine when you can apply for that adjustment of status and when the embassy is going to reach out to you to start that visa application. So for this video, I'm going to go through each category to let you know where they are in that process. For F1, the unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, worldwide, China and India advanced a significant 5.5 months, jumping to June 15, 2019. Mexico picked up 2 months to December 1st, 2008. Philippines held flat. Unfortunately, no change there. For F2A, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents, children here meaning unmarried and under the age of 21. For F2A, this is still current across every single country. There's no priority date cutoff at all. And if you are in F2A, you can file your I-485 right now, regardless of your priority date. Again, this is if you qualify to adjust your status in the US, then you would be able to file your I-130 and your I-485, that green card application, all at the same time. For F2B, unmarried sons and daughters 21 plus of lawful permanent residents. Remember, F2A is dealing with children under 21 and unmarried. F2B is dealing with children of lawful permanent residents that are already 21 and over and unmarried. The F2B is one of the biggest jumps on this chart this month. Worldwide, China and India advanced nearly 7 months from June 8, 2018, all the way to January 1st, 2019. Mexico and the Philippines had no change, unfortunately. But that 7-month jump is very significant. And again, it ties into what we talked about in the previous 2 Visa Bulletin videos about what is causing these jumps. And we're going to cover it again in this video. For F3, married sons and daughters of US citizens, after being frozen 4 months, this category finally moved, okay? The F3 has not moved in a very long time, and the worldwide, China and India advanced 3 months to March 1st, 2013. Mexico and the Philippines, unfortunately, remained unchanged. For F4, worldwide and China advanced nearly 4 months to June 22, 2010. India, Mexico, and the Philippines remained unchanged. Now let's talk about the final action date. Now this is the finish line for most people, and this is where we saw historic moves in the numbers this month. Remember, these are the cutoffs that determine when your green card or your visa can actually be approved and issued to you. If you are applying for a visa or a green card, you are typically not even getting an interview until this final action date is current for your priority date. Now, for F1, again, unmarried sons and daughters of US citizens, worldwide, China and India jumped nearly 11 months, okay? From February 1st, 2018 to December 15th, 2018, that is a massive single month advance for one of the largest family categories. There is a lot of people stuck in the F1 category that have been waiting to get their visa, and this is huge for them. Again, if they are worldwide, China and India, this is a massive move. If they are in Mexico, Mexico only moved 3 weeks, and the Philippines had no change. So it is a win for some, and for others, it's still a waiting game. For F2A, spouses and children of lawful permanent residents. If you remember, this is the number that I started with, okay? I led with this because it deserves the weight that I gave it, because the final action date for worldwide, China, India, and the Philippines, okay? Worldwide, China, India, and the Philippines advanced from January 1st, 2025 to July 22nd, 2026, okay? That is an 18.5-month jump. And I am seeing the effect of this jump. Also, and this is huge, Mexico also advanced by 18.5 months. Again, this is huge, okay? Mexico went from January 1st, 2024 to July 22nd, 2025. Again, it's a year behind the other countries, but it's still a massive jump. To put this in perspective, July 22nd, 2026 is essentially a couple days ago from when I'm recording this video. And the final action date for F2A is now current in the practical sense, right? So if you are the child of a green card holder and you have now received your green card, the approval window is open. If you already had your interview or you're waiting for an interview and your priority date is before July 22nd, 2026, the chances of you getting that interview after the normal processing is now higher for August than it is prior. For F2B, the unmarried sons and daughters of lawful permanent residents advanced about 5.5 weeks For worldwide, China and India to January 1st, 2018, Philippines moved about 2.5 weeks, and Mexico had no change. And again, there's going to be countries that do not have any change, and this is Mexico and the Philippines are usually the major suspects when it comes to no change. For F3, married sons and daughters of U.S. citizens, it has a modest but real move. Worldwide, China and India advanced 1 month to May 15, 2012. Mexico also picked up 1 month, and the Philippines remained unchanged. For F4, brothers and sisters of adult U.S. citizens, a strong jump here too. Worldwide and China advanced 8 months, okay, from January 1st, 2009 to September 1st, 2009. India, Mexico, and the Philippines remained unchanged. I want to explain what's going on here so that you are not confused and think this is going to keep going. So basically, according to the Visa Bulletin itself, the reason that these giant historic moves are happening is because certain countries that are under the travel ban are not able to get visas. So the visas that would have went to them are now just sitting unused. So anyone that's not from those countries are now able to use those visas. So that advancement is basically artificial in the sense that there's at least 38 countries that are fully banned from getting immigrant visas, 75 that have a pause on that visa being approved. So with that in mind, that is going to lead to less visas being issued and more visas being held by the State Department, and leads to these jumps that we are seeing. So if all these countries that are on some form of travel ban or pause are not getting visas, that means there's more numbers for the State Department to kind of have and push out to everyone else. So that's why you're seeing these massive jumps, because there's just a lot of visas in the system right now. Now, what does this mean practically? It means that the window that you're looking at right now in August may be the widest that we will see for fiscal year 2026. Remember, fiscal year 2026 ends in September. So we need to keep that in mind. These visa numbers reset on October 1st. Now, let me go category by category and tell you what you could do in one of these categories. Of course, this is not legal advice, and you should be consulting your own immigration attorney before making any action, before taking any actions on your case. For F2A, this is kind of the most urgent one because the date for filing chart is current, which means that if you are in the US and you want to file an adjustment of status application, you can file it at the same time as your I-130. So you should not wait, because again, this may change once we get into fiscal year 2027, okay, which starts October 1st, 2026. Really important there. So make sure you're getting your documents together, schedule that medical exam, and file your application. If you are outside of the US and you have been contacted by the National Visa Center about your case, make sure that you go ahead and start working on your case immediately. And if you have not been contacted by the National Visa Center and your case has already been sent to the National Visa Center, you may want to just send that public inquiry and give them a nudge. If you are in F1, again, this is the unmarried sons and daughters of U.S. citizens. The date for filing chart moved to June 15, 2019, and the final action date moved to December 15, 2018. Check your priority date right now, okay? Check your priority date, because if your priority date is before June 15, 2019, you can file your adjustment of status today. Again, if you qualify to file for adjustment of status, and if you are outside of the US, you can reach out to the National Visa Center to figure out what's going on there. For F2B, that moved nearly 7 months. So you want to see if you are before that cutoff of January 1st, 2019, and August may be your first real opportunity to file or to start your visa application. Don't overthink it. Just start gathering your documents, especially if you know you are very close to that edge, because if the moves keep happening the way they are in September, you want to be ready to go, because again, the travel bans have not lifted. The 75 country pause has not lifted. So it is reasonable to assume that these increases are going to continue to the next visa bulletin. For everyone else, regardless of your category, the two things that can slow down the most when a filing window opens are the medical exam and the financial sponsor documents. If you are outside of the US, there's nothing you can do about that medical exam because you need to have an interview scheduled to do your medical exam. But your sponsor can figure out what documents they need to actually put together and make sure they have their tax returns up to date, right? So if they have not filed their 2025 tax return and you expect for your priority date to be current in August or in September, you need to make sure that they have their documents together so that you can move quickly, okay? The quicker you can move, the better for you and your case. And if you are genuinely just confused about this whole visa bulletin, am I ready to file? Is this the right time? Is my priority date current? Whatever it is about your immigration situation, you need to consult an immigration attorney like myself. And if you would like to consult with me, you can do that. And I'll tell you exactly how to do that at the end of this video. And if you are confused, you don't want to wait till like October to ask these questions, because again, you may fall into one of these fast moving categories and qualify, and especially if you are not from a travel banned country or a 75 country pause country. Listen, I have been covering the visa bulletin every month this year, and I want to be honest with you, I have not seen a month like this, right? This is massive jumps. These are massive jumps that are happening for August of 2026. So you need to pay attention to the visa bulletin, because like I said, with the pauses, with the travel bans, things are going to move faster for people that are not from those countries. So pay attention, keep your documentation in hand, and be ready to move quickly when the time comes. The fiscal year ends September 30th, 2026, which means that as of October 1st, the fiscal year numbers are going to reset, and we're basically starting from zero. Right? USCIS, the embassy have to wait for the State Department to issue that October visa bulletin, what they are expecting. Again, they're going to look at the entire circumstance, especially again, if the travel bans and the 75 pause is still in effect. So you need to be clear that some of this may lead to retrogression, which is where the numbers move backwards instead of forward. So the theme for this video is take action if you qualify right now. If this video was helpful to you, please hit that like button, subscribe and share this video. And if you are going through your own immigration journey and you would like to schedule a consultation with me, you can do that by going to my website, lilylegal.com, and click on contact us. And the link is also in the description to this video. Next month, I'll be back with the September visa bulletin, because again, it is going to be a massive one because it's the end of the fiscal year. And then we're going to go into the October visa bulletin in September. I'll tell you exactly what fiscal year 2027 means for your case, especially with the reset happening on October 1st. That reset is massive, and we are going to see if cases keep moving forward or if it's going to retrogress and dates move backwards. I'm hoping it keeps moving forward, and I'm hoping that you take action on your case. And if the visa bulletin gods are on your favor, please go ahead and take action so that you can get your visa or your green card if you're in the US. Bye.